Creativity, in my view, is simply expressing part of yourself, your essence, in a way that only you can do. It does not have to be music. It does not have to be painting. It does not have to be anything that you consider traditional creativity. It can be something that you love to do, that you pour your heart and soul into.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
I'm your host, Anna Melikian, and before we start with today's show, please remember to visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone. There you can find all the episodes and other amazing resources, all at mindset.zone. Today, our special guest is Gardner. She is a award-winning art educator, a singer-songwriter, and a no-profit entrepreneur who utilizes the power of music and creativity to facilitate healing and growth in individuals and communities. Welcome to the Mindset Zone, Lane.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here with you today.
And I would like to start by asking you, why do you believe that creativity and creativity expression is our superpower?
This is a great question. This is the essence of everything that I believe and think and help others with. I believe that creative expression is our personal toolbox for well-being. Creativity, creative expression has so many benefits for us. It has benefits to our mental health, has benefits to our brain, to our cognitive health. It has benefits to our relationships. It helps us improve our relationship to ourselves, which then helps us improve our relationships to other people, both personally and professionally. It helps us understand ourselves better, which leads to greater fulfillment, authenticity. It helps us tap into our imagination on deeper levels so that we can solve problems better. We can be more innovative. We can be more courageous because we feel more confident because we know more about ourselves. And it also helps us to process difficult emotions. It helps us work through things that maybe are hard to work through. And it allows for us to have a bit of a safe passage, a safer container, a safety net to work through difficult things through a creative process. So I could go on and on and on with the enormous list of benefits. But this is why I like to refer to it as each person's superpower, because it can impact so many areas of your life. And you know, at the end of the day, it just plain makes you feel better.
Yes, and I know that this is at core of what you do, and at the same time, this word creativity can freeze people because they. So I would like to ask you, how do you define creativity?
Creativity, in my view, is simply expressing part of yourself, your essence, in a way that only you can do. It does not have to be music. It does not have to be painting. It does not have to be anything that you consider traditional creativity. It can be something that you love to do, that you pour your heart and soul into. It can be baking a cake. It can be, building a birdhouse. Maybe you're a woodworker, right? But the creativity, I love what you said because it's so true. I think that a lot of times when you say the word creativity, it does freeze people. It intimidates people. And I'd like to say that, I've spent almost 30 years working with both young people and with adults. And there's a difference. And I will say that we are so encouraging of children to be creative, right? We're encouraging of them to explore their imagination and express themselves. It's how they learn about themselves. It's how they learn about their world. And we want that for them, right? It shapes them, it forms them. But somewhere along the line between childhood and adulthood, we somehow come to believe that creativity isn't important for us anymore. It's not encouraged, it's not advocated for. And so I think what happens is that as adults, we tend to get intimidated by the notion of being creative, especially if we're not like in the arts or having a profession that is quote unquote creative.
Yeah. I feel the need of peel this out a little, because I think it's so important that, like you were saying, for children, they draw anything, they sing anything, good or bad, we don't care. We're just there applauding and cheering them up because they are expressing themselves. They are trying new things. They are exploring. And you are totally right. There is it's like almost, I don't know exactly, I cannot put my finger when that happened. But then it's the expectations of singing well, the expectations you should draw better by this age. You don't have that innate talent to X or whatever. And it's like slowly we kill that self-expression. It's not just killing the production of works of art. We are killing a lot, or not killing maybe is too strong, but muscle, the self-expression of that inner side of us that wants to come out in some way. And yes, as adults, we have maybe better words to articulate things, but we still need the freedom of the messiness that is creation sometimes to process other things.
I think that's right. I think that somewhere along the line, we all get an inner critic, right? We have this terrible thing called an inner critic. And for some of us, it's harder than others. And it's not only towards creativity, right? I mean, that inner critic can get in our way in so many different areas of our lives. And I think something I love that you said is that a lot of times as adults, we start to think, well, I'm not going to create this beautiful masterpiece like Picasso did. So I might as well not even try, right? I might not be able to sing that amazing song that Beyonce can sing, right? But it's really about the process. It's about the process of pouring yourself into a creative act that allows us to have all these benefits. And it's not about being an artist. It's not about turning out a beautiful piece of work. It's about, like you said, it's a muscle. The more that you can practice some form of creative expression on a regular basis, the easier it gets and the more benefits that you get from it. Just like going to the gym.
Yeah. And I think a big change is that kids sees it as play. They are play with it. They are having fun with it. And that sometimes, like you're saying, the inner critic enters there, but that sometimes it's no more a play. And we see it as an adult, like, oh, we have to do it right, when there is no right. And I think if we keep it again as a play, like that sandbox, that, okay, just try it, just have fun, just sing in the shower, whatever it is that allow you to play, releases a little bit that barriers that we build as we go along.
I agree. And it, not only is it releasing the barriers, but we're opening up so many channels, right? It's not just breaking the barrier, it's actually inviting all of the things that are within us that maybe we don't have access to on a daily basis,
And that is part of your work. Like you say, you work with people of all ages, but you work with teenagers, with adults, and it has to do a lot about unlocking their creativity, correct?
That's right. The process of creative expression is really about going through, first of all, starting with a safe space. Right? We need to know that we're in a safe space in order to express ourselves. Part of, I think, what is difficult for especially adults is, we might feel a little vulnerable expressing our authentic self and using our authentic voice. And I don't just mean singing, I just mean our essence, right? And so creating a safe space, having a safe space is really fundamental to being in the creative process. And then going through these steps of really, like you said, play, using games, using musical activities, using collaborative, activities that allow for trust to be built, that allow for others to witness each other and feel seen and feel heard and feel valued for what they are expressing. And so what that does is it unlocks that creative flow even more. And whether you're creating independently in your on, maybe you're more comfortable creating in the safety of your own room, or whether, you do what Thread does, our nonprofit, which is to utilize collaborative creativity to not only help individuals, but also communities. It is all about unlocking that.
I love that. And I love that you say the authentic self and essence. That remind me of two very important concepts in adults, because I think, yes, all we have our essence, but sometimes it's not very clear. It's like that, I think it's a Buddhist story, that is the jewel in the mud. The jewel is there, but it's muddy. And I think that is, we are afraid of looking into it, and maybe it's the inner critic not being a shine, or it's nothing there. We are afraid of exploring that. Do you think that makes resonates with you?
Oh, 100%. I think that for us as human beings, it's our nature to shy away from things that make us feel a little intimidated, or to make us not want to look at difficult situations, right? We just don't want to. We don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to be
vulnerable.
We don't want to be not in the know, right? And so I think that is something that I think does keep people from trusting that, even though you might feel a little anxious or a little unsure about this process, that, holding that for yourself, that compassion, that, almost inner cheerleader to combat the inner critic, allows you to uncover so many beautiful things within you that maybe you didn't even know were there. And I think, that is the power of creativity and creative expression, is it does help to unearth and polish the jewel that is only you. Nobody else is like you, and nobody else expresses themselves just like you. And that's what makes you brilliant and beautiful.
And adding to that the power of community, of more jewels shining together, that takes things to the next level. And that reminds me of the work that you speak in your TEDx about that you did with Marjorie Stone. You can take the Parkland School. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So that was probably one of the most life-changing experiences I've ever had, both as a person and as a professional. We were asked to work with students of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shortly after the unbelievable tragedy, the mass shooting at their school. And so when we arrived, the children there, the kids were just completely shell-shocked, and they were still very much in the trauma of that experience. And so with the help of a licensed music therapist, we took them through this process. And believe it or not, we were actually in the school itself. We were in one of the classrooms. I mean, you want to talk about intensity. And the kids were still showing quite a few signs of trauma. That if a sound happened outside, they would, sweat bullets and want to leap out of their seats. And so the process that we took them through, and this is what we're speaking about, the power of collaborative creation, is it allows for both individual and collective healing at the same time. So we took them gradually through this process of starting to draw out the common threads of their experiences, and letting them not only verbalize if they could, but use instruments, use creative games to begin to express those emotions in a way that maybe they couldn't get out before. And one of the beautiful things that happened was that most of the kids, with the exception of one girl, were not musicians, were not artists, were, one was a football player, one was I think he was in backstage crew or something, right? And they all found the thing that they could contribute and use their own artistic voice. One guy was playing a drum, and a hand drum, and that ended up being the drum track for the song. And he wasn't a vocalist. He knew he wasn't going to sing, but these are the ways in which they uncovered their ability to share what they experienced together. And so over the course of 4 days, we watched them go from completely traumatized, shell-shocked, to literally grabbing each other by the hands and standing each other up and beaming while they were playing their song for the other people. And the transformation was so incredible. And not only did they get to experience that together, but they got to uncover a greater, deeper truth about their experience, which was that they weren't being listened to for what they needed. They were being told that they were okay, and they weren't. So it was just amazing that they were able to express something that they weren't getting. And then they have this song now that they can return to and use as a reminder of their strength and their courage, and also share with others and help them feel better as well. So it works both on the individual and the collective layers, and it's so powerful.
And we will finish this episode with part of the song that is really, wow, I cannot describe. I will invite people to experience, because we really can see their being vulnerable and strong at the same time. Is absolutely beautiful. How they open their hearts in that song, and how you can feel the emotions. You can feel the rawness of the emotions on their voices. And even when they say some words at the end, and at the same time, their strength and their power is absolutely inspirational.
It truly is. And that is the power of sharing your story. You can transform something so difficult into a powerful work of art that impacts those who listen.
And that, I think, is part of your work, using this creativity, the superpower, and the creativity expression, mainly through music, as a way of even cultivate mental wellness and helping like these kids in high school, but also organizations, from hospitals to companies, to really tap into their potential.
That's right. This kind of work is so adaptable because it's within all of us. It's not a skill that you need. It's not something you need to learn how to do. It's just innate within all of us. And so being able to bring a collective, collaborative project to a company, to an organization, to a community, it can be beneficial on so many levels. And really what it does is it not only does it create connection, right, which is something that I think we're all very much in need of, especially now coming out of this pandemic, but it also helps us to see what we have in common in this moment when we're all feeling and seeing such polarization around us. It also allows us to share our stories and see, that we share similar experiences, even though we go through life in our own ways, that we have more in common than we think, Yes. And so this idea of experiencing a collaborative, creative project, it helps us to not only transform what's difficult within ourselves, but it allows us to have collective healing as well, because we're identifying themes that we all have in common that we can transform into something beautiful. That is sort of the deepest level of it. On the top level of it, it can be a great staff development for establishing trust, for establishing greater connection and greater conversation with your staff, with your team. We've seen incredible things happen with staff developments where a team might be struggling with a potential project or a problem, and taking them through this creative, fun, cathartic process allows them to uncover a really innovative solution that was sort of a byproduct of having this collective, collaborative experience. And plus, you get to know your colleagues better. You get to offer them more compassion and understanding because you've seen them in a creative space. The benefits of using collective and collaborative creativity projects is enormous. And I could go on. I know we don't have time for it all here, but whether you're doing it individually or collaboratively, it is
it's powerful. And I think because I think we forget mainly, when we speak about creation can be in many different forms. But because of your background is a lot about music, to translate that in the sound of music. And I think we forget, going back to the beginning, child versus adult. As an adult, many of us forget the power of music. I think when we are kids, we are much more connected with songs our parents and adults sing to us to calm us down, to soothe us to sleep. When we grow, we start to sing. When I remember in my teenager years, I listened to so much songs. I had my playlists. I had my favorite artists. I see my daughter that is now a teenager with her lists of not in albums anymore, not even CDs anymore. Now it's Spotify playlists.
Exactly.
And the technology changed, but she's always in the background with some music. And I remember at their age, I was like that. And somewhere, I know that is different from adult to adult, but many of us, I think, because I noticed this because the musics that are still more relevant to us was when we were late teens, young adults. That is our soundtrack.
Yeah.
Then seems that somewhere along the line we forget how powerful music is. And we are not practicing that. I did a show here in the Mindset Zone about that, the power of music, how music, and even if anything that we look around us, commercials, they pay a lot to the musicians that do the music track for the commercials because they know the power that it is. Mm-hmm. A movie is powerful like it is emotionally. The way that they bring the emotion is through the music track. And I think part of the magic of the work that you are doing is bringing that magic of music in a way that people can create. And then they can feel it, no?
That's right. One of the parts of the process that we take people through is learning how to translate their feelings into sound. And that's exactly what you're describing when you're describing a soundtrack for a movie or a song that impacted you so much as a teenager. Those sounds capture the feelings that you relate to and that touch you and that move you. And maybe you don't even have words to describe it, but maybe you get tears in your throat because it touches you, right? And that is the power of music. But one of the things that I kind of just want to slip in here a little bit is that listening to music is so powerful and it impacts us and it helps us. I am also an advocate for helping people to realize that they themselves can participate in the creation of that as well, right? A lot of times I think that we think we're onlookers. Let me go listen to that music. And it gives me great benefit. Absolutely. But I'd like to advocate for the notion that you can transform those feelings that are relevant to you into a sound, into a drum beat. You can get that anger out in a drum beat. Go drum on your desk. You don't even need a drum, right? You can translate that into, if you're interested in painting, you can translate that into a color or into a texture. And what you're describing is this power of sensory experience, vibration, right? Frequency. And we know this in the medical world. Frequency and vibration has a huge impact on our physical health, right? And so it also can impact us on our mental health, our cognitive health, because it is connecting us to our emotions. And we can express that through these elements. And we have access to do that on our own. We don't only need to simply listen to somebody else's story. We can create it ourselves.
Absolutely. And I think this because mainly in the organization, corporate world, is so easy. Everything is like cultivated from the neck up, the rational, the intellectual, the logical, that are absolutely important. But mainly when there is a crisis like the COVID, that creates a collective trauma, or even social change like is happening with Black Lives Matters and all the inclusion that is being, we really have to create more open spaces. But these are changes for everybody. And we stop to, many times we have challenged to use the words because things are changing so much. It's difficult to articulate it in words, and there is the power of the art, the power of creations that you speak, and the music of translating the feelings, these new realities, in something that can be constructed together. It's very, very powerful.
It's very, very powerful, and it is beyond language, what, like you're describing. It rises above race, religion, politics, gender, sexuality, all of it. It is humanity, right?
Yes.
It is our humanness that we feel through the creative process, that we witness in others' creative processes. And that is what unifies us, is our humanity. And that's what strengthens the fabric of our society when we see the humanity in each other. And it doesn't mean that we don't have differences and different opinions and different takes on life. But at the end of the day, we have such similar human experiences. And that's how we can find common ground with each other. That's how we can find unity and support and connection with one another, is through our humanity. And the arts have always done that. They've always told the story of who we are and who we've been and who we might become. And we need that. We need creativity and creative expression to reflect. It's like a mirror, to reflect back to ourselves in a way that is beyond words and that touches our souls. And I think we need some soul medicine right now more than anything. We're struggling and we need some soul medicine to help us. And I think the arts are the perfect medicine for this.
I agree. And the power of the song, going back here to music, is when we sing together, there is something magical of singing together. And that brings that you need a sense of oneness and the meaning that is so powerful. And then in a certain sense, taking things to the next level, I always think about the choir when they are in the same note is magical, but then when they get the different voices playing together that are different, but they still add to the texture of it. It doesn't need to be everything the same thing. It can be the diversity, everything can create that magical that we have, the potential that we have within us. So where do people can learn more about you and about this amazing work that you are doing?
So the name of our nonprofit organization is called Thread. You can find us at our website, which is Thread Connects, CONNECTS.org. You can also find me, just lanegardner.com. That's also, you'll find out about the work that I do and the work that Thread does. And, all of our socials, of course, and, which are under the name of Thread Connects. So you can learn more about us. You certainly reach out to us if what you've heard today inspires you. The nonprofit is a new organization. We've been running a music education company for 30 years, but over recent years, we've added a nonprofit. So we're new. We are definitely wanting to increase our engagement and reach more communities and more people, and connect with those who are like-minded and who feel that this kind of work resonates with them.
Love it. And also in threadconnects.org/Parkland, you can listen to the video that we are going to be playing here, the song or part of the song to end the episode today. So thank you so much for your time.
It has been my pleasure, Anna. Thank you for having me on. And I've so enjoyed speaking with you and exploring all the ways in which creative expression is a powerful superpower for all of us.
Absolutely.
I just want some relief, some peace and quiet. Once in a while is all I need. No one understands what I'm going through, but I just want the trust and honest trust. Just give it to me straight. I swear that I can handle it. I'm stronger than I look. Just tell me that I'm not okay. Just give it to me straight. I swear that I can handle it. I'm stronger than I look. Just tell me that I'm not okay. Just tell me that I'm not okay. I've got a long road ahead, but I'm willing to take my time. It's not gonna be today, but I promise, just watch and stay.
I am hopeful.
I am strong.
I am genuine. I am calm.
I am scared.
I am empowering.
I am love.
Expanding possibilities. The mindset zone.
Thank you for listening, and remember to visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone. There you can find all the episodes and other amazing resources, all at mindset.zone. As always, I'm so grateful you are here. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.